The Treasure Hunt Adventure Quest. Once upon a time, in a small village named Greenfield, there was a boy named Jack. Jack was 12 years old and loved to explore. He would often go to the nearby woods and spend hours looking for interesting things, like colorful stones, old coins, and strange plants. One sunny day, while walking near the big oak tree in the woods, Jack found something that changed his life forever. He found an old, dusty map. The map was rolled up and tied with a red ribbon. When he opened it, he saw strange drawings and a big red X marked on it. His heart started to beat fast. A treasure map, Jack thought excitedly. Jack quickly ran back to his house and showed the map to his best friend, Lily. Lily was a smart and brave girl who was always ready for an adventure. She had long brown hair and always wore a bright smile. When she saw the map, her eyes widened with excitement. "This could be the biggest adventure of our lives, Jack," she exclaimed. Jack and Lily decided they would go on a treasure hunt the next day. They packed some food, water, a flashlight, and a compass. They also took a small shovel, just in case they needed to dig. Early the next morning, they met near the big oak tree. The map showed a path that led through the woods, across the river, and into the old cave on the other side of the hill. The cave was known as the Cave of Shadows. Many people in the village were afraid to go there because they believed it was haunted. But Jack and Lily were not scared. They were brave, and they wanted to find the treasure. As they started their journey, they followed the map's directions carefully. The first part of the path was easy. They walked through the woods, listening to the birds singing and the leaves rustling in the wind. After a while, they reached the river. The map showed that they needed to cross the river, but there was no bridge. The water was not very deep, but it was wide and the current was strong. "How are we going to cross this river?" Jack asked, looking worried. Lily thought for a moment and then had an idea. "Look, Jack, there are some big rocks in the river. We can jump from one rock to another and reach the other side." Jack looked at the rocks. They were big enough to step on, but they were slippery because of the water. "We have to be very careful," Jack said. "One wrong step, and we could fall into the water." Lily nodded. "We can do it. Let's go slowly." They started to cross the river, jumping from one rock to another. It was not easy. The rocks were slippery, and they had to balance carefully. At one point, Jack almost slipped, but Lily grabbed his hand and helped him. Finally, after what felt like a long time, they reached the other side of the river. They were tired but happy. "We did it," Jack said with a big smile. "Now, let's find that cave." They walked up the hill toward the Cave of Shadows. As they got closer, the sky started to turn gray and dark clouds gathered. The wind blew harder and the air felt cold. The cave entrance was dark and covered with thick vines. It looked scary, just as the villagers had said. "Are you sure we should go inside?" Jack asked, Feeling a little scared, Lily took a deep breath. "We have come this far, Jack. We can't turn back now. Remember, the treasure is hidden inside the cave." Jack nodded. "You're right. Let's go." They turned on their flashlight and stepped into the cave. Inside, it was cold and damp. The walls were wet, and strange noises echoed around them. They walked slowly, holding hands. The map showed that they needed to go straight and then turn left at the big rock. They followed the directions carefully. Suddenly, they heard a loud noise. It sounded like rocks falling. Jack and Lily stopped and looked around. In the dim light of the flashlight, they saw something move. "What was that?" Jack whispered, his voice shaking. "I don't know," Lily replied, trying to stay calm. "But we have to keep going." They continued walking, and soon they reached a big rock, just like the map showed. They turned left and entered a narrow passage. The passage was so narrow that they had to walk sideways to get through. After a few minutes, they came to an open space inside the cave. In the center of the space was an old wooden chest. It was covered with dust and cobwebs. "The treasure!" Jack exclaimed. They ran to the chest and tried to open it, but it was locked. There was a small keyhole on the front. Jack took out the map again and looked at it. In one corner of the map, there was a drawing of a key. "The key must be hidden somewhere in this cave," Jack said. They started to search the cave for the key. They looked behind rocks, in small holes, and even under the dust-covered ground. After searching for a long time, they found something shiny near the wall. It was a small, golden key. "We found it!" Lily shouted. Jack grabbed the key and ran to the chest. His hands were shaking as he put the key into the keyhole and turned it. The chest made a creaking sound and slowly opened. Inside the chest, they saw something shining brightly. Jack and Lily's eyes widened with amazement. The chest was filled with gold coins, sparkling jewels, and colorful gems. There were also old scrolls tied with ribbons and a small, shiny dagger with a jeweled handle. The treasure looked more beautiful than they had ever imagined. They stared at it in silence for a few moments, unable to believe their eyes. "We really found it," Jack whispered. "This is the treasure." Lily nodded, her heart pounding with excitement. "Look at all this gold. We could buy so many things for the village. We could help people who need money, and we could even build a new school." Jack smiled. "Yes, but first, we have to take it back home." They carefully started to take some of the treasure out of the chest, putting the coins and jewels into their backpacks. They couldn't carry everything, so they decided to take only a small part of it for now. "We can come back later for the rest," Jack said. They were about to leave the cave when suddenly they heard a strange noise again. This time, it was louder and closer. The ground started to shake, and dust fell from the ceiling of the cave. "What's happening?" Jack asked, feeling scared. Lily looked around. I think the cave is not stable. We need to get out of here, quickly. They grabbed their backpacks and started to run back through the narrow passage. But as they reached the big rock where they had turned left, they saw that the path was blocked. Rocks had fallen and covered the way out. "Oh no, we're trapped," Jack shouted, his voice filled with fear. Lily took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "There must be another way out. We just have to find it." They turned around and looked for another path. The cave was dark, and they only had their small flashlight to guide them. As they moved deeper into the cave, they came across strange markings on the walls. They looked like ancient symbols, something neither Jack nor Lily had ever seen before. "What do you think these mean?" Jack asked. Lily looked closely at the symbols. "I'm not sure, but maybe they are clues left by the people who hid the treasure. They might lead us to another exit." They followed the symbols, which seemed to form a path through the cave. After a few minutes, they reached another chamber. In the middle of this chamber was a large stone door. It was covered with the same ancient symbols they had seen on the walls. At the center of the door was a round hole, about the size of a coin. "How do we open this?" Jack wondered. Lily thought for a moment and then remembered something. "The dagger!" she exclaimed. The dagger from the chest. It had a jeweled handle. "Maybe it fits into this hole." Jack took out the small dagger from his backpack and placed it into the hole on the door. To their surprise, the dagger fit perfectly. He turned it like a key, and the stone door began to shake. Slowly, it opened, revealing a new path. They could feel fresh air coming through the opening. "This must be the way out," Jack said excitedly. They hurried through the door and found themselves in a narrow tunnel. It was damp and smelled of earth, but they could see a faint light at the end. They ran toward the light, hoping it was the exit. As they got closer, the light grew brighter, and soon they found themselves standing outside in the open air. They were on the other side of the hill, far from where they had entered the cave. "We made it," Lily shouted, breathing a sigh of relief. "We are safe." Jack looked back at the cave entrance. "We were so close to being trapped forever," he said, feeling a bit shaken. "But we did it. We found the treasure, and we got out." They sat down on the grass, tired but happy. They opened their backpacks and looked at the gold coins and jewels they had brought with them. It felt like a dream. They had gone on an adventure, faced danger, and discovered hidden treasure. But most of all, they had learned to work together and never give up, even when things got tough. "We should go back to the village and tell everyone what we found," Lily said. "But maybe we should keep the exact location of the treasure a secret for now. We don't want everyone to rush into the cave and get hurt." Jack agreed. "We can use this treasure to help our village in so many ways. We can build new homes, help the poor, and make life better for everyone." They started their journey back to the village, feeling proud of what they had done. As they walked, they talked about their next adventure. They knew that they would go back to the cave one day to explore more and find the rest of the treasure. But for now, they were happy with what they had. When they reached the village, they were greeted by their friends and families. Everyone was curious to know where they had been. Jack and Lily told them about their adventure, showing them the coins and jewels as proof. The villagers listened in awe, clapping and cheering when the story was over. "You are heroes," said the village elder. "You have done something amazing. But remember, true treasure is not just gold and jewels. True treasure is bravery, friendship, and helping others." Jack and Lily smiled. They knew the elder was right. The treasure hunt had taught them more than they ever expected. It was not just about finding gold. It was about courage, teamwork, and making a difference. They decided to share the treasure with the village, using it to build a new school and a small hospital so that everyone could have a better life. From that day on, Jack and Lily were known as the bravest adventurers in Greenfield. They inspired others to explore, learn, and help each other. And every night, as they looked at the stars, they remembered the Cave of Shadows and the great treasure they had found. They knew there were many more adventures waiting for them, and they couldn't wait to go on their next quest.